Hey,
Up, Mr.
everybody.
Wing?
Mr. Worth, what's up?
Nothing. How are you doing, man?
Doing great. Ready to record this last section, 12.6,
Can't believe
over
it.
titrations.
That's incredible. So, this is the last one of Unit 12, and then all they have left is the bonus unit, which is worth only one standard, right?
That's right.
All right. Let's. What are these things? They're titrations. So, basically, what is a titration? I like how I said basically.
Basically.
Ah, so a titration is nothing more than a carefully controlled acid-base neutralization reaction. So that means I'm going to add an acid to a base, or I'm going to add a base to an acid. But what we're going to do is we're going to find out the exact point where the hydrogen ions are equal to the hydroxide ions. And once they're at the exact point, we call that the equivalence point. How it works. So let's see this video that I made, Mr. Wing. Let's check it out here. Um, so what we're doing is we're dropping we're dropping the base, dropping a base into an acid, and I have an indicator in here called phenolphthalein, right? And that phenolphthalein is clear, but once it becomes basic, it turns pink. Well, we want it to just drop. Look, see how it's starting to turn pink right now? Okay, so it's starting to turn pink, but it's not staying pink. So
That
it's
means it's getting close to equaling out.
close. And right when it stays pink, which is right there,
Boom.
that's the equivalence point. So what we're going to use is we're going to say, how much of this base did it take to neutralize that much acid? And based on that, we can figure out what the concentration is of this acid. That's how a titration works. So we're going to drop this base in until we get the exact amount of hydroxides from this base as there are hydrogen ions in this acid. And voila, we've reached the equivalence point, right?
And don't worry, folks, there's a nice handy formula for you. You just have to plug in your values and you'll be able to tell those things.
Yeah.
There's also going to be a really nice gizmo to do. And it is very good. You guys will totally understand titrations after that. I just know it.
I hope so. All right, here we go. So we got three different types of titrations we're going to go through. We're going to do strong acid, strong acid, weak base, strong base, weak acid, right? So let's
Yes.
talk about strong acid, strong base first, Mr. Wing.
Okay. So first off, we got to look at the formula. Notice hydrochloric acid is a strong acid. Sodium hydroxide is a strong base. So therefore, we know that our salt, the NaCl that we're going to form, is a neutral salt. So that means that its equivalence point should be right at 7. The
There you go.
pH
So it should be.
equivalence point should be at 7.
So let's see what a graph would look like with that bad boy.
So we have, I think there's going to be some questions where they have to like read and interpret the graphs. So we need to kind of talk about that. Notice pH is on the left or on the y-axis. What's this? The volume of the base?
The volume of the base.
The amount of base, because remember how Mr. Worth in that first video was dropping the drops of base that were in the tube. And we want to know, okay, well, so what happens when we're increasing that volume? Meaning we're using more base. So eventually it turned pink, right? And when it turned pink, that was like what we call the equivalence point. And so that means that the hydrogen ions were equal to the hydroxide ions. And that's really the whole point of this, is we're neutralizing acids and bases.
Yeah. So when we had an acid only in the flask, it was at a really low pH. But as we dropped that base, drop by drop, the pH went up, and eventually got to a point where it really jumped up like crazy. Because like probably about right here, we're one hydroxide away from being perfect, right? Perfectly equal. And then boom, we got it. Now, as we keep adding more base, as we got past the equivalence point, at the equivalence point, there's only water and this salt in here. But as soon as we go one more drop, we now have excess hydroxide in there, which is going to start making it more basic, and it goes through. But the most important thing to know is that strong acid, strong base is going to have an equivalence point that is in the neutral pH range, which is 7, right?
And Mr. Worth, isn't it pretty amazing that scientists and chemists were able to like figure out like one hydrogen ion? Thing is so small, it's like a proton, but using indirect observations with the indicators, they can literally tell when they're perfectly equal. It's amazing.
It is impressive. I'm very impressed. They're very amazing people. All right, so let's go to the next one. You ready?
Yep.
Strong acid, weak base. All right, so here we go. We have a strong acid, weak base. They're going to form what kind of salt, Mr. Wing?
An acidic salt because the strong acid is going to trump the weak base.
Yeah, so if we have a strong acid, we have HCl, and a weak base, NH3, even though it's the most popular base in the world, it's weak. It's not a group one, group
Ammonia.
two hydroxide. What?
It's ammonia for those of you that haven't figured that out yet.
If you smell Windex, you'll smell that right there. So this salt, at the equivalence point, these two are both gone. There's no limiting reactant. They're both gone. The only thing left are these two things. And since that's a strong acid, that's a weak base, that's going to be an acidic salt. So where's our pH going to be at the equivalence point when these two are equal and gone, and the only thing that's left is these? Where's our equivalence going to be?
Well, it has to be below 7 because that means that the pH is going to be acidic.
That's right. Good call. So the graph of this one looks a little bit different. Remember, our other one was right at 7. The equivalence point is right at 7. This one's going to have an equivalence point that's probably below 7 because the only thing left at the equivalence point is the salt and the water. And since the salt is acidic, it's going to be right there. What do you think?
I love it. And look at the bottom on the x-axis. It says volume of alkali added. And remember, guys, that alkali is another word for base.
True. Okay. Let's see. So we have a very low pH when we only had acid in there, only HCl in there. And as we added more base, it kept getting higher and higher. Boom. All right. All right. Last one, Mr. Wing. Weak acid, strong base. Boom. Here we go. When these two combine, what kind of salt they going to have?
Basic.
Basic. Strong base. Weak acid going to have a basic salt. So here's a weak acid. Here's a strong base. So that means that this salt right here is basic. So at the equivalence point, when the only thing left at the equivalence point is products, because both of these are run out at the equivalence point, you will have a basic salt and, of course, neutral water, which means the pH should be at the equivalence point greater than 7, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And what's that graph going to look like, man?
That's going to look like the equivalence point is above 7.
There it is. That's right. So the only thing in there is salt and water, but the salt is basic, so it's going to be above 7. So hopefully they can understand that little deal, that as we drop the base into an acid, the pH is going to go up, and eventually it's going to reach a point where the hydroxides are equal to the hydrogen ions, and voila.
I think they can do it.
All right. So let's go ahead and try some examples, Mr. Wing, of how to do some of these titrations to figure out what is the concentration of the unknown acid or base that we're titrating to kind of figure that out. All right. So here's the and when an acid and base combine in a titration, they're going to reach the equivalence point, and that's when their moles of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions are exactly equal. So all we got to do is find out when their moles are equal, and we're good to go. Therefore, we can use the titration to determine the unknown concentration of an acid or base by using a known concentration of an acid or base. So we got to know the concentration of an acid if we're going to find the concentration of an unknown base, or we got to know the base to find the concentration of an unknown acid, right? Here's the formula, Mr. Wang. What's that look like? Tell us more about that.
Oh, okay. So this first part where it says number of H, it's not hashtag H, number of hydrogen. So this is either going to be a 1, 2, or 3 for our class. And this is basically saying, all right, when we look at the acid, like hydrochloric acid, there's only one hydrogen. So that would be a 1 when we actually put numbers in here. If it was sulfuric acid, which is H2SO4, that would be a 2 because there's 2 H's. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is true with the number of hydroxides. So same thing with a base. Sodium hydroxide, NaOH, just has 1 OH, so that'd be a 1. Calcium hydroxide, CaOH2, has 2 of them, so that'd be a 2.
I like it.
And okay, so then the M and the V, this looks really familiar, Mr. Worth, to the dilutions formula. But the molarity of the acid times the volume of the acid is going to equal the molarity of the base times the volume of the base. I don't know what else to say. We just got to know how much, which is the volume, how many milliliters are we using, and then what's the concentration.
Yeah, essentially there are 6 variables here, right?
Yep.
We're going to give them 5, and they got to figure out the 6th one.
That's right.
That's it. So
let's do it.
Let's go through some examples here. We got 2 examples, and that's it. I kept the formula up here for us to kind of check it out. These things can look long, but the reason why they're so long is because we have to have 5 variables of information in here. So let's go ahead and do this. One thing I want to point out, Mr. Wang, is that this volume doesn't have to always be in liters. It can be in milliliters as long as this volume's also in milliliters. But it can be liters and liters or milliliters and milliliters or whatever. but whatever the volume is on one side has to be the same on the other side. So let's go through this and pick out what these things are, Mr. Wing. So let's talk
Okay.
about, let's go through, like, let's go from left to right and kind of fill these in. What's the number of hydrogens in our acid?
Okay, so our acid is hydrochloric acid, so there's 1.
Okay. Do we know the molarity of the acid?
Yes, it says that it's 0.1 molar.
Nice. And do we know the volume of the acid?
Um,
Let's see, the solution
oh,
reception.
yep,
Oh,
30 milliliters.
30 milliliters. So we know that the amount of hydrochloric acid we had to add was 30 milliliters. So we now know those three. Do we know the number of hydroxides in sodium hydroxide?
We do. There's 1.
One hydroxide, okay? And do we know the molarity of the sodium hydroxide?
Um, no, we do not. We
It's,
want to know the unknown concentration.
we're trying to figure, so we're trying to solve for this molarity of the base. That's what we're doing. So we have a base that we found in the back of the lab that Mrs. Lucky didn't label. And, I threw her right under the bus. And we got to figure out what is the molarity of that base. Do we know the volume of the base?
Yep, 50 milliliters.
All right, so we had that. So we had 50 milliliters in the flask before, and by the time we reached the equivalence point, we added 30 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. We have 5 of the 6 variables. Let's look at what it looks like here. Strong acid, strong base, right?
Yep, so it's going to be neutral.
Salt, the pH is going to be around 7, which is important to know when you choose your indicator, if you will. So let's look and see what we got here. Look, does this look exactly what you talked about, Mr. Wang?
It does. Now we can just
got milliliters here, milliliters here, right?
Yep. Now we just use our algebra skills to solve this equation for the molarity of the base.
All right, and there it is. The molarity of that, notice I put in brackets, the concentration of that is 0.060 molar. I think they can handle that. What do you think?
Yep.
All right, so notice the hydroxides were 1 and the hydrogens were 1. Pretty simple problem. Let's do one that's exactly the same, and it's our last problem together, Mr. Wing. This is the one exactly the same, except the hydrogen and hydroxides are not 1 exactly. So let's look and see what we got. Okay, so here we got 75 milliliters of aluminum hydroxide with an unknown concentration. So once again, we're trying to find out the concentration of this base here. Notice it's a base. It's titrated that. So let's go through and just find the 5 out of the 6 variables. Are you ready? Okay,
Yes.
look, here's the equation first. Notice we have 3 moles of this for every 1 mole of that. We have made this equation up here, so you don't need to worry about the balanced equation. It's beautiful, okay?
Yep.
Where do you think the pH of the equivalence point is going to be on this guy with a strong acid and a weak base? Is it going to be below, at, or above 7?
It's going to be below 7 because the strong acid is going to trump the weak base.
Nice. So we have strong acid, weak base, acidic salt. So when these two are exactly equal, the only thing left is this aluminum nitrate, which is an acidic salt. pH is going to be below 7. All right, here we go. Let's fill in our 5 out of 6. Mr. Wing, where do we get these? How many hydrogens we got?
1.
1. What's the molarity of the acid?
2.
2. And what is the milliliters of the acid it took to reach the equivalence point?
57.5.
There it is. And then we go over to the base. Oh, look at that. Here's the difference. See how there's 3 hydroxides and aluminum hydroxide? 3
Yes,
hydroxides.
sir.
We got 3 here. We're still trying to find the molarity at the base. It's not always what we're trying to find, but that's what we're trying to find in the 2 sample problems. And then what milliliters of the base did we have in the flask at the beginning?
75.
75. So we use our algebra skills again, Mr. Wing, and we just solve for this M/B, and we get 0.511 molar. We now know the concentration of that base. We can slap a label on it and be good to go. All right. How we do, Mr. Wing?
Great. I think that's it, folks. There's
one of my favorite movies of all time. It looks like he's holding a flask, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
He's not. Well, that titrated quickly. All right.
So this is it, man. The last little unit that we have is there's not going to be videos for it. Just a couple little virtual labs that you guys are going to do.
Yeah, that's it. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed Unit 12. I know this isn't an easy unit, is it, Mr. Wayne?
No, this is definitely one that's fun when we're in class because there's just a lot of questions and a lot of really cool things to talk about. But unfortunately, and there's a lot of really good labs that we can do to actually doing the titration. You totally see where the equivalence point is, and it's so fun to use the little valve and just let it go drop by drop.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to take college chem now, so your chemistry 1200 numbers are gonna go up. So all these guys want to do titrations.
All right. Other than that, have a good rest of your day, Mr. Wing. That's it for you tonight. Make sure you guys ask us questions if you have any.
Unit
And
12.
we'll be here for you. All right. See you, Mr. Wing.
See ya.